we don't have a strategic plan because what I always tell people is, and once again, I could be wrong, but this is what I strongly believe. I really believe that in order for changes to actually start happening, we have to start attacking the white's pocket. And what I mean by that is they won't never, and I'm gonna use Sprite, right? We are probably drunk Sprite.
They got all of us on the
Exactly.
Sprite commercials.
They will use us to promote their product, right? But how much is they really donating to our cause? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Unethical and Accountable with me, your host, Dwayne.
Cameron. And today we got our special guest again with us for the second time. Bert, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people.
What's going on? What's going on? It's your boy Bert the Great, a.k.a. Melly Mel. My mama said I'm handsome. What's going on, y'all?
So, guys, before we even get into today's episode about is the black race setting itself back, I want to let you guys know that today's show is being sponsored by www.rhinoacademy.com. Guys, if you are looking to repair, rebuild, and leverage your credit all for free, make sure you head over to www.rhinoacademy.com. Guys, it's very important for you to rebuild, leverage that credit, guys. So with that being said, let's get into today's show. So as I stated earlier, guys, this show is basically about, do you believe the black race is setting its own self back? Now, before we get this, as we get this show started, I'd like to give a couple of shout outs for all the accomplishments that we actually have accomplished, over this past decade as a black culture, right? We've seen our first black president going to office.
Shout out to Obama.
Shout out to him for real. We also seen as a whole, the black culture has actually now, they voted the most, like they more into politics more than ever, right? We've seen senators, governors being voted into office, at, nation records right now, but, even with all the great accomplishments, we still have a big race gap, between the black culture and the Hispanic culture and the white culture, right? So, the poverty gap has declined for blacks by 10% between 1990 and 2000, but it raised again between 2000 and 2015. But once again, it started to decline again, but right now we still is the highest in, poverty, right? But even with that still being said, the black community has some great, accomplishments, especially as female entrepreneurs out here. Shout out to all the female entrepreneurs who are starting a businesses right now. It's been proven that over 38% of black women they make up the group far as black entrepreneurship inside of our community. So shout out to all those
black girl
women.
Magic,
yeah, man. Hey, that's what's up, man. They out there. It's being proven that they starting more businesses, man. And it's also being proven that we are also starting more medical businesses, right, inside of the community, man. So shout out to all the doctors or anybody starting any type of businesses that falls within the medical field. As we already know, is very important, especially in our community, to take care of our health,
as well.
You best believe it, man. So, with all that being said, fellas, man, what I'm saying? Like I said, we have a lot of great things. We still down in poverty. Tell us, what is your perspective as far as where are the community right now as a whole?
And as far as that, I honestly, I think we have come a long way. From us being slaves to us being emancipated, to us, being, property owners, then to us having that property taken away from us, to us, having it again, then to us being segregated, and fight for our civil rights, and, being counted as, not even a whole person when it came to vote, not being allowed to vote. We've come a long way, in fighting for our rights. But we're still not, living up to where we were as far as our heritage and our, as far as African heritage. We still got a long way to go. And that's just because in America, in general as the black race, as the African American, ethnic group, in every statistic, and it's sad to say, in every statistic, we have the worst outcome. Poverty. We're in last place. When it comes to crime, they rank us first, and on the news, that's all you see. When it comes to education, we owe the most, and we have the lowest net worth, but we've increased our enrollment in education programs. So in every statistical category, we always have that negative stigma attached to us. So we've come a long way. We've gained a lot of accomplishments. We've gained a lot of support from our white counterparts, but we still lack. We're still in last place when it comes to everything. So that's something that I can't let go. That in every statistical category, whether it's marriage, whether it's education, whether it's income, whether it's wealth, we're always in last place.
Okay.
So that's a problem. That's a problem. So right now, as an educated black man, knowing those things, that's something we need to fix. Even with us accomplishing a lot of things, we've come so far. We still got a long way to go.
What's up, Bert? What's your opinion?
Yeah, well, I agree. For the most part, I agree, bro. You need to stop doing that, man. But I agree for the most part. But we do have a lot of work to do. Especially, we do have some communities that are thriving in black culture, of course. You got your doctors and things of that nature. And, we came out when it came down to the voting. Now, are you satisfied with what you voted for? That's another question. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, we do have a lot of growing and a lot to look forward to. But yeah, man, we'll get into it. I'm gonna talk more about it.
Yeah, okay. So my personal opinion, like I said at the beginning of this introduction, man. We have excelled by accomplish a lot of goals that haven't been done by the black culture. But even with that still being said, it's not, it's a fact that there's a lot of setbacks still within the black community that, we have to uplift ourselves and progress, in life. Even with all the accomplishments, we succeed in life, there's always another side of the story to it. So, at the end of the day, like you say, even though, our poverty, the poverty rate where we at right now is our all-time lowest, but yet we still have the highest poverty rate. Like, it's something that we have to do to not be the highest no more. We should, we need to lift that number even better, right? Because poverty rate right now for us is at 18.8%, which, like I said, it is the lowest. Even still, with that being said, we set ourselves back, with, like you stated earlier, with a lot of killing. You know what I'm saying? We kill for senseless reasons.
And just to touch on that, and a lot of like media outlets like to focus on blacks killing blacks, but it's proven, and even I like to point at a series comedy series that D.L. Hughley did. Whatever's in your vicinity, that's most likely gonna be the victims in any case. So whites kill whites, blacks kill blacks, Hispanics kill Hispanics. That's proven statistic that happens. And our media outlets like to overexpose what's going on in the black community. So before we move, I just wanted to address that before we move forward. That's that's with any race, with any culture.
Well, I agree with you 100% because it's just like you stepping in the jungle of another territory. Like, if you walk into that jungle, 9 times out of 10 something is going to happen to you. You know what I'm saying? As the black community, we came to this world and we was placed inside this jungle for all us to survive. So, when you already one of the poorest, you don't have a good education system. We don't get the greatest jobs out here. It's hard for us to get jobs out here. You know what I'm saying? It only leads to one thing. You know what I'm saying? I hate to say it, it'll lead to more violence. It's just, even if you was to reverse engineering and put the right race the white race inside of the same economic system that the black race or the Hispanic race has been in, I'm pretty sure you'll get the same outcome.
Same outcome.
But some people, they'll disagree with that. They'll argue to the point. But it is what it is. Like I say, the jungle is the jungle for a reason. You know what I'm saying? You put these animals in this wilderness, and they have no food to survive. And the only way they can actually survive is they start attacking each other.
They gotta take the food off somebody.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what the world we know as today. We have to see it as it is what it is now.
The fittest.
Why not move though?
I mean, well, like I say, that we gonna get deep into that later on, okay? Because like I say, even if you was to move, it's still a lot of setback barriers that we actually still come across. You know what I'm saying? That just like me, I have a degree. You know what I'm saying? I could go into a job field, right, with the best degree in the world, and I still have to basically prove myself 10 times more than
the best. You
the
gotta
other.
Be the greatest.
Exactly, and you know what I'm saying? 9 times out of 10, even if I am great, right, they still will basically decline me just because of the color of my skin. So you know what I'm saying? There's still a lot of barriers that we have to actually step over. We have to hurdle, you know what I'm saying, for the reason a lot of these results that we have. Like I say, I get it, you know what I'm saying? Yes, we do we kill each other a lot for a lot of the crimes to be senseless. You know what I'm saying? Can we get better at it? Of course we can get better at it. But let's not still ignore the conditions that we was actually placed in.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? We always have to keep that in mind, because at the end of the day, we didn't choose to be there. We was placed there. You know what I'm saying? Programs was placed to keep us inside of this community. You know what I'm saying? Those who do step out of those communities, you know what I'm saying? Some of the greats, it just so happens bad things happen to them. So we got to always just remember that. Now, do I agree with the killing one another? No, I would never agree with that.
In any case, it's a problem.
Yeah, because like I say, especially in our culture, a man will look at us a wrong way and they feel threatened and they feel like they have to shoot us. No, that's stupidity, right? At the end of the day, no, we should not be killing each other. So I will always disagree with that. But at the end of the day, my only counter argument to that is, let's not forget the jungle that we was actually placed in and the hurdles that we have to go through to get out those different scenarios. At the end of the day, it's a survival instinct that we have, you know what I'm saying?
As a human being.
Oh, 100.
Human being.
You know what I'm saying? We have to, put food on our family plates. And, sometimes the best way to put food on our family plates is to steal and kill just to get to, you know what I'm saying, to get to where we have to go. And let's not forget how America was built. America was built off stealing and killing. So people, the world might not agree with it. But once again, I could debate that all day alone. But you know what I'm saying? That's just my personal opinion. About, the killing on black crime. But, as a race, I still think, we getting better, but it's still some obstacles that we have to, go through to get to, a better place. But, just to keep going, what is it, that you guys believe that is causing the black community to continue to do certain things or certain patterns that hold us in the same the same ratio gap that separates, I'm gonna say, that separate us in the same ratio gap for any other race in this world?
Sometimes we need to stop trying to eat our own for a couple of dollars, right? Yeah, we are in poverty. That's a fact. There's a percentage on that. Will that change? We don't know. We still got to work towards that. We're always going to have the wealthy, and we also always going to have the poor. That's no ifs and buts about that. But of course, we're the ones that the majority of the poor. See, my thing is this: there's no excuse with it coming out of certain things, right? So yeah, you guys have your degrees and things of that nature. They can do the same as that thing. Yeah, you having issues as far as like because the fact that your skin color and things of that nature, right? Maybe if you were the engineer and things of that nature, right? They're in high demand right now, right? Mm-hmm. I'm just giving an example. 100. If you would have got a degree in one of them STEMs, whatever the case may be, they're in a high demand. Because right now you can get a quarter just as a sign-up bonus. A lot of people don't even know that, right? So it's up to us. We make our choices, right? We contribute to that. For instance, when we had the riots over there, for example, I believe it was in Chicago, or the case may be, where they tore down, beat up a whole bunch of, they rioted in the cities, and they tore a lot of buildings down, things of that nature. One of the major companies actually ended up leaving Chicago. See, what happens in economic terms, right? We contribute to that. right? So then what happens is this: when these major companies, when one major company leaves that community, guess what happens with the rest of them? They end up leaving too. So now you sit here, go to your councilman. Now you sit here and go to the people who you voted for and things of that nature, saying, "Hey, listen, we need this right here. We need better water. We need healthier foods and things of that nature." But we turn out our own cities.
But so just to go with the job situation,
Go
where
ahead.
you're saying the company was actually leaving, right? So
Right.
when I look at just my black communities within Miami, right? And I'm not talking about small businesses. I'm talking about large corporations.
Okay.
So my thing, what I have with these large corporations, they come into black neighborhoods. Majority of the time, they're not even hiring the black citizens that's within that city. They hiring outside the source. So right there,
They
so
don't
you
even
saying
meet
that
the
that
demographics of where they're going.
like, you know what I'm saying? I have walked into several large corporations within the black community, and some of them don't even speak English, right? I have a problem with that. So how can you say you uplifting this community by bringing in this large corporation, but yet you still yet to provide jobs to the people within that community? You're not providing them with the skill sets to actually meet the standards that this large corporation is actually expecting these people to have just to apply for these jobs. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to bring this large corporation within this community, how about you provide programs to advance these people in these low communities with the skill sets to actually be advanced to actually operate this corporation? See, these mayors and these councilmen and this they bringing in these large corporations and they getting piggyback paid on the back end, but they not holding these large corporations accountable for actually supplying these jobs to the people within that community. So I mean, the riot probably made it worse for that community to survive in that neighborhood. But how about maybe it would have never been that bad if they would have hired some people within that community, you know, to even make that community better from the beginning.
And I agree to a certain extent, because I do think, you know, that the people, you know, in power in a certain community, you know, should hold these companies accountable as far as who they're hiring, because it you know, we see it every day. We you know, we're a black community, and we have a majority of black people in our community, but our businesses are not being supported like that, and the other businesses are thriving, and the major companies, and they're in our community, and people who work there don't look like us. Why not train those people who look like us to, I guess, meet whatever standards that you have, and to get up to that level? Because at the end of the day, you're taking away from, you're hurting the community if you're not feeding the economy there. You're getting your money and it's going somewhere outside the community, essentially. But you know, just to go back on the topic, I think that, you know, it's three main things I can think of when we're talking about, you know, the black community and what's hurting us the most. Poverty. One, you know, the system was made for us to be in poverty, and we've been there for the longest. You know, we are not being given these loans, and we're not being, you know, taught literacy skills and all those things. So the system was against us to begin with, and we don't own any of those banks. We don't own any of the companies that's making a major income. So poverty.
Yep.
And guess what happens, you know, when you're in poverty? You know, crime starts to happen.
Most definitely.
And the way our society is set up, you know, even if you commit a crime that's worthy of, you know, being punishable, there's still those crimes that, you know, are not too different from what our white counterparts are doing. You know, for instance, you know, the war on drugs. In that instance, you know, there was a weight between crack and cocaine, and guess, you know, our white counterparts, they were using cocaine, and our black counterpart, you know, us as a black community, compared to our counterparts, you know, crack was the drug. But guess what was, you know, you can guess what was, you know, in the court of law was considered, you know, more harshly prosecuted in the court of law. It was crack, because essentially they wanted to, you know, and there's no other explanation for it. They wanted to come down harder on us. So there's poverty, which results in crime, and then, you know, the minor crimes that we're committing are getting prosecuted at a higher level than our counterparts, and then you got incarceration without rehabilitation. So we're being incarcerated at a higher rate, even though we represent such a low percentage of the community, but we're being put in jail for those minor things that, you know, other people aren't being put in jail for. So you got that. And then when you get out, you're being disenfranchised. So, you're being prosecuted harder for crimes. And once you get out, there's no rehabilitation. So we crippled. We crippled. It's cyclical. I said the word before. It's cyclical. So it's the same thing happens. And you get out of jail, you in poverty again, or just reverse it. You go to jail for something petty that you had no clue about. You went to jail, and you're incarcerated, no rehabilitation, and that just puts you in a position where you're in poverty. So any way you want to, order these poverty, crime, incarceration, it's a cycle that we can't seem to get out of because of the system that we were placed in. But we also got to hold ourselves accountable because just like, all of us, or, we can get our education, or we can, go into entrepreneurship, or we can do certain things in our lives to make it better. The next man has that opportunity.
Exactly.
The next man does have that opportunity.
Because that's how I look at it, man. It's like we're doing like they say shout out to Anton. You'll say something as far as the Victim Olympics, right? Because we sit here and saying that, all right, it's because of them, it's because of them, it's because of them, but you still have a choice. At the end of the day, you got two gentlemen on this panel right now that actually been to college. You see what I'm saying? Why can't they do the same exact thing? See what I'm saying? Because you guys would agree that there are some cities that are actually dying. Oh, yeah. Right? Yeah. And you can also agree that poverty is never going to change. There's always going to be poverty. There's always going to be the poor.
It's always going to be someone at that lowest level.
Regardless.
That's the way America is set up.
But can we agree that, as the black culture, we actually, like, Cam said, we a lot of things, it's a lot of setbacks because, one, we get arrested for senseless arrest, right? Like, and I'm going to use the perfect example because now it's just this hot commodity, which is the marijuana industry, right? Mm-hmm. And, it's just facts, right? And, you go back to notes where it literally states that African Americans are arrested for violating marijuana possession laws at nearly 4 times the rates of whites. Yet both ethnicity groups consume marijuana at roughly the same rates. So at the end of the day, how is it possible that both groups, white and blacks, use marijuana at the same rate, but yet black people is being arrested 4 times more? That there alone shows you that this system is setting us back. You know what I'm saying? This system is not built for us to win.
And that's unfair, but so I'm just teetering between both sides because it's like that ain't right. But then it's like if you running, let's say you at a track meet, they doing 100 meter, you doing 100 meter dash, right? Doing 100 meter sprint. You running your race. If you're looking at the person next to you run their race rather than, focusing on your race.
That's a problem.
You're going to ultimately lose that race. Mm-hmm. But it is still unfair in America that we have to be 10 times better in order to, there's no equity in it. There's no equality, there's no equity as well. So we're not getting equal treatment, and then we're not, getting anything, that's going to at least try to bring us up to that level where we can say, it's equivalent to, where our counterparts are.
Well, I think we have no game plan at the end of the day. Like, what I'm saying? All respect to, Black Lives Matter and every other group that, that get on these streets and march for justice when injustice happens. But, what I'm saying? Like, the reason I disagree with a lot of these marches is because, once we get in these streets and we tear it up and we march for justice and all that, we have no cost. It's like, okay, what is we doing this for? You know what I'm saying? Exactly. If we're going to get in these streets and, march, you know what I'm saying? How about we go march to the city hall and get the councilman or get the police chief or get whoever out of office to get the person that we need in office to make better councilmen or to make better city laws or put better policemen in our neighborhoods or put better schools in our neighborhood or put better grocery stores or whatever the case is, right? We out here marching for nothing. And then another thing I have is, as the black culture, we march. 1 week later, we forget the whole incident even happened. So it's like, well, what is we doing out here? So it's like we out here, cool. You know what I'm saying? We in these streets just for what I call it is what it is. A lot of people do it just to promo. I hate to say it, that's the truth. We do it just for promotional use only, but there's no true meaning behind what is it we actually fighting for. Back in the days when we had the Malcolm X, when we had the Dr. Martin Luther Kings, no matter whoever you agree with, at the end of the day, it was a cost to behind whatever that march was. You know what I'm saying? They had to go, the million man march, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? There was a a justification solution to whatever that march was for. And when we do it nowadays, it's nothing. You know what I'm saying? These people out, we get in these streets and we vandalize and solidify for no reason. You know what I'm saying? And we just doing it just to do it half of the time. But you know what I'm saying? We have the only thing well, it's not the only thing. The one thing I do have with our culture is we have no true standards, no true definition of what it is we actually fighting for. Yeah, we know equality is wrong. Yeah, we know we're not getting it treated right, but we have no true solution to whatever the battle we is fighting. And I think we have to come up with a strategic plan to actually come up with so we can actually strategize better.
I mean, how about this for starters? How about there is blueprints out there, right? Other than ours. Here's the misconception, right? Mm-hmm. You think that the European descent is the ones that's actually the most wealthiest one in this country, but it's not the case. You got the Asian, you got the Indians. Mm-hmm. See, Indian, you got most didn't even know that. But if we sit here and look at their blueprint and seeing how the way they're approaching situations, maybe, just maybe, things could actually change for our cultures as well. You know what I'm saying? See, once again, we have the mindset, whereas we sitting here watching the next man when we shouldn't be doing that. It starts by as individuals, for starter, right? Do what you got to do, right? Get up there, get these degrees and things of nature. First off, see, here's another thing too. See, we're too lazy, right? We're lazy. We're lazy as hell. We're looking for instant gratification thanks to social media and things of that nature, right? We're also I feel that we should worry about ourselves first, get to our destination first. I understand that you gotta go ahead and get to the bag, do your research first, see what these high paying jobs are and things of that nature. Start there and be an example for the city as well, because you also have doctors, you also have nurses that's always in these poverty situations, but they got out of that. So there's no excuse to that.
The thing is, those aren't the things that are highlighted in our community.
This is true.
And me just coming from a place where, there were a lot of athletes and entertainers. That is what is being put in our faces. That is who we see a lot, or at least who we're, taught to recognize. We're not taught to recognize that person who, made it out as a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer. And that's just it. We're taught to recognize that person who got the chains on, who coming through, got the fit on. That's in the NFL right now, because that's what we see. So we don't think that it's possible. A lot of us growing up, me myself, for example, I knew that I wanted to do it. Those things. I knew that I wanted to be an athlete, but as well, I knew that I had other talents that I wanted to explore. But I didn't really think it was possible. I imagined myself doing those things, but I didn't know how I was going to get there. I didn't know how hard or easy it would be. I didn't know if I could even, do it. Even though I saw people, those weren't the people that were put in front of me that. So I think it's a matter of just showing our kids and our parents that it's possible, and showing them the way to make those things happen as far as success in the Black community. Because I think everything, honestly, and it's sad to say, everything goes back to money and wealth.
All the money, there you go.
Everything goes back to wealth in the Black community. Because we've been so oppressed. Let me add on
to that. Even the wealth, we have a lot of stupid rules in the Black community, right? And what I mean by stupid rules is, we have where they be like, oh, you snitch, you get stitched. You know what I'm saying? That's the stupidest shit I ever heard in my life, right? You know what I'm saying? And I grew up with that. Oh, I ain't for to tell who killed that person.
It's a cultural thing.
It's stupid. Then we out here representing the block, but we don't even own it. Half of us don't even own a rent. We don't even pay rent. But they out here standing in their mama house, but they talking about don't step on my block. It's like we have the stupidest culture rules that it need to be addressed at the end of the day. It's like, it's just like wearing the pants down, wearing flags in the back of your pocket. It's like, what are we really standing on? It's like we have no true cultural boundaries other than the stupidity ones that I actually did when I was younger, until I got older and I understood that, what the hell? Like, what the hell I was standing for? It's like you say, we really don't stand for nothing. And like you say, when it goes back to the money, we fall for money. You know what I'm saying? We are easily
that easy. That the easier you get it, the quicker it's gonna go.
Yeah. And then even the ones who do make it with the money, it's like one thing I hate about the black culture is we don't like to share wealth. It's like it's always competition. Like if I don't share this information with you, I'm gonna say if I share this information with you, now I think you're gonna hurt my pockets. But at the end of the day, it's like one of my best mentors ever said. It's like, don't be afraid to share information, because at the end of the day, when you look at the chicken industry, you see Popeyes, you see churches, you see the grocery stores. Every corner you go on, everybody's selling chicken. They just selling their different ingredients. But you don't see not one chicken company hurting. But when it comes to the black community, we just feel like if we don't share this information, if we share this information, we feel like, it's gonna hurt our pockets. But at the end of the day, if you feel like the next man gonna hurt your pockets because you're gonna share this information, then that's your fault. That means you're not grinding hard enough. That means you're not hustling hard enough to get to where you need to be.
It's the crabs, in a bucket mentality. but like A Boogie said, you know what I'm saying, everybody eats. Everybody can eat, man.
It's the truth.
Yeah. We all can eat.
We fight with each other within our culture.
Can eat. And if we learn that, not just complaining about not just saying that we doing things wrong, but if we learn that, we can create a better synergy between everybody can prosper. So we have to realize that, and we have to put, each other on. All our dogs. We make it. Put all your dogs on. You know what I'm saying? We all got those people that we know that can do that's into the fashion that we got the drip. You know what I'm saying? We don't know how they got it or where they got it from. How they copping the J's every week, but they copping them. We don't know how they, dripping like that, but they doing it, man. Hey, come on, man.
But that's what's wrong with our community. We don't want to put our homies on, and those who do, I respect it. But the ones who, like I say, and within our community, it's a lot of jealousy. It's a lot of envy against one another, right? Because soon as we put one of our homies on, now you feel like they stepping over your feet just for putting them on. Besides looking at it as we both kings in the same facility.
To rebuttal that, and I'll say that there's a lot of what we see is that, but I do believe, I'll say I do believe that there's people in our community that's about that. But just in the larger majority, it seems like it's the way you explained it. We're not willing to put each other on or to elevate each other to that, or to invest in each other. In that way, bro. You look at the white, our white counterparts, and you know what I'm saying, they donate the things and do things, unknowingly. Like they son and all that. They, as soon as they graduate, guess what? He don't know nothing, but he gonna run the company.
Yeah.
He don't know nothing at all.
Yeah.
But since he's been, brought up and raised, he gonna run that company. I'm not saying that we don't do it, but that's something that we need to do more in order to progress ourselves.
Yeah, so the blueprint is out there. The blueprint has been out there, right? My thing is this also, man. Once again, get to your destination first. Get there first, and then you can help draw people back up, right? Because we can also, we know people that sit here and rest in peace, Young Dolph, right? That would actually want to stay in the communities. They want to sit here and feel as if, I need to stay in this community because of the fact that this is the hood, this is what I know, things of nature. You come on, man. You're contributing to the issues in the community right now. What you can do is be an example once again. Get to the bad, of course, and let them see. All right, cool. If he can do it, I can do it too, right? And you can help that person up if anything. But when you get to the mountaintop, when you're trying to get to the top itself, and you carrying all this luggage and stuff like that, you end up falling off the cliff your damn self. So you gotta keep that in mind as well. So you have to get there first. Do what you gotta do. Then somebody seeing you going up there and they decide to run with you. Come on, bro, slide. Let's go. Yeah. Let's make it happen. And because you can agree too that some people need to stay their ass there too.
Oh, so this is my thing when it comes to our community, right? I think we look at our community like as we look at Africa as we was taught, right? And when we was growing up in our history books in school, we was taught that Africa was this shitty place. All it was grass everywhere in here, homeless people walking out, people wearing half shirts, titties hanging out, right? But and in reality, when you actually look at Africa as today, it's so many beautiful countries within inside Africa that they don't even show us inside our history
Just show
books.
us the poverty.
Yeah, they only show us our poverty side. So what I'm trying to say is, when I go back to, I'm gonna use Overtown, which is, we already know, if you don't know, it's located within Miami. What they won't teach you is that the reason the city of Miami actually became Miami is because Overtown was this thriving black community where a lot of homeowners was there, a lot of black businesses was there, and it was a booming community, right? And what happened was, when it was time for Miami to get incorporated, they was like, damn, we need these black people to vote the city of Miami into the city of Miami. We need these votes. We need their power to actually make this happen. We can't do it without them. But you know what? This is the stuff they won't teach us inside our history books, that at the end of the day, it's nothing wrong with our community if we build within our community. A lot of us, we get this money and we run away from our community. I get it. You know what I'm saying? You fear that if you stay within your community, if you make money, somebody might rob you, somebody might jack you. But I forgot the dope boy who I read about. He resided in Opelika, but he was one of the biggest dope boys in Opelika, and he decided to actually stay and operate it in Opelika because he loved his community so much that he actually built businesses, and no one never touched him because he was seen as the king, the man who was actually giving back. So I'm not saying this, it will happen all the time. But I just think if we come together as a culture and if you show love, even if you choose not to stay within your community, I feel like you should, if you're going to donate, because at the end of the day, a lot of these rich people, they donate a lot of money to avoid certain taxes. So if you're going to donate a lot of money to avoid certain taxes, know who you're donating to, and know that this money you donating, how about you rebuild your community? Because as we already know, you might not be the smartest, but you can always hire smart people around you. It's common sense that we know we need better schools. We know we need better streets, better education systems, better jobs in our communities. It's not hard for the thing I have with the rich folks or the black rich folks is they get this money and they
like to get out of
it. Yeah,
it.
you know what I'm saying? I don't want nothing to do with our community no more. Mm-hmm. And that's my biggest problem, you know what I'm saying? See, it's like they don't want to help.
I can agree to a certain extent because
me too.
It's like again, go back to that crabs in the bucket, man. Once you get up to that level and you see everything that's going on around you, sometimes it's just so hard to stay in that environment. Like honestly, as myself, as college educated, 2-time, degree, it's hard for me. It was hard for me to picture myself coming back. It was real hard for me to picture myself coming back and just being in my community. Although I love all my people, I want all my people to flourish. It was something I had to really just consider. I had to really think about, who I was and who I wanted to be moving forward. And that ultimately led me back, to where I was born and raised. But a lot of people, they had so many traumatizing experiences. How could you blame them for leaving out? How could you blame them for going somewhere else and not investing in their own community, rather, investing in another community? How could you blame them? It's twofold. It's like, okay, yeah, I want my community to flourish, but I done had so many things happen. I done seen so many things. I done experienced so many things. It's like, it's hard for me, and that's the debate I had to have with myself. But when I thought about it, I said, me doing what wasn't done for me and my community means more to me than actually achieving my own, accomplishments and my milestones. That's what I had to say to myself. And I don't fault anyone for saying that their own welfare mattered more than helping the next person, because at the end of the day, they might have a family, they might have kids. So I can't fault anyone for making that decision.
So this is my only thing I'm gonna say about it. I don't know if you got something to say, Bert, about it, but my only thing is, right, and this is why I'm a big advocate of mental health, right? Because in the black community, we always down talk about going to see a therapist, right? And I always tell people, when my grandmother died, I went to go see a therapist. My family might not know, but, a lot of my friends know that I went to go see a therapist. That's how I decided to handle my own mental issues. So with that being said, even though we experienced some bad things within our community growing up, I think that's where the black community lacks. It's not enough people in our community, especially in the hip hop community. We're not talking about mental health strong enough, right? You know what I'm saying? So we have to start promoting this at a extremely high rate, because as I say, we have a lot of jealousy, we have a lot of envy, we have a lot of hate that goes on within our community, and it starts with mental health. You know what I'm saying? A lot of us need to go seek it, but we always look at going to see a therapist is as bad. Hell, I thought it was bad. I was like, what the hell I'm going to sit down and talk to somebody for, right? I was like, I don't need to sit down and let somebody tell me what the hell to do in my life. But, when I went, like I tell everybody, I probably went through 5-6 therapists until I actually found that one great therapist. So, it was an obstacle I went through in order for me to find that one great one. But I think that's something everybody in the Black community needs to go through. We need to go see a therapist. We need to go sit down and, not with our friends, because at the end of the day, our friends they won't tell us what we need to hear. They always tell us what we want to hear. But we need to go see this therapist. And, that's something, like I say, the hip hop community, these athletes, you know what I'm saying? We seeing it now in today's world, like Naomi Osaka, the guy, what's the guy from Atlanta, the wide receiver, he stepped out. Really, stepped out for his mental health. But I think this is something we need to push more inside our own Black community. We need to go check in on our mental thoughts, like, because it's fucked up. Nobody's not gonna admit it, but our thinking is off the charts.
Experience is similar to like PTSD.
Oh, 100.
What we go through, man.
Of course.
And we don't really acknowledge it for what it is.
Agreed. I agree to that.
And then another thing, what I want to state, shout out to all my entrepreneurs out there, right? So, it's an article where it shows, well, once again, we is in a world where there's so many setbacks. And, shout out to all the entrepreneurs, but it's an article where it shows that, Black Americans started small businesses, it grew over 400%. But yet, just because it grew over 400%, still only 31% of these Black small businesses was able to receive an actually loan from the bank, compared to the 49% from white America. That's damn near 50% of their race can actually get a loan. And if people don't look at this as a problem,
on the banks.
Well, that's true. But so that's why I say, when it goes back to we don't have a strategic plan, because what I always tell people is, and once again, I could be wrong, but this is what I strongly believe. I really believe that in order for changes to actually start happening, we have to start attacking the white's pocket. And what I mean by that is, they won't never, and I'm going to use Sprite, right? We are probably drunk Sprite.
Got all of us on the Sprite,
exactly.
Sprite commercials.
They will use us to promote their product, right? But how much is they really donating to our costs?
And I'll say this. Nowadays, these companies with everything that's going on with the movements and all that, they're being forced now. Oh, and I think 100. This is a problem. They're being forced now to acknowledge what's going on. I think that's a problem that just now they're realizing that, or they're starting to acknowledge, what's happening in the Black community.
And the only reason some of them actually acknowledge it is because you got to. Once again, I'm a back throwing it to Sprite. I want to know how much money of how much of people actually buy Sprite. If I was to guess, I guarantee the Black culture dominate the Sprite sales.
And that's honestly, that's within any market. We influence, what's trending. And even though we're ostracized the most, even though we're the most outcast, community in America, it's strange. But we influence all of the markets for each industry, the clothing. Jewelry and all that, like we spoke about before. Everybody wearing jewelry like we used to wear it, like we wear it. Clothing, everybody's wearing, clothing like we do it. And the hip hop, industry influences is a lot because it's our culture essentially. This is our culture, just exemplified and put out there. So it's strange to see that that's happening, and to see that we can't capitalize, or we can't support our own culture and make it popular in that way. We gotta go and support these Italian designers or these foreign cause we like to support do the foreign things, or say we got the foreign whip, or we got the watch made by a designer, which none of them ain't Black or even American at that. So it's something that's just ingrained in us at this point, where we don't and I'm not saying this is everybody, but far as us in general, we don't support us as much as we support the
The other race.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
And we don't realize that we're the ones who actually bring the value to it. It's like we gotta really realize the black dollar influence. And Rick Ross had a whole album where he talked about this. The black dollar, man, it influences everything.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, as we stated in a previous show of ours, right? You know, as the black culture, we spend the most dollars, and we actually donate the most. So just those two go hand in hand. When you actually spending the most and you actually donating the most, we expect we supposed to expect something greater in return, but that's not the case. You know, we still getting slapped in the face. And like I said previously, in order for us to actually get better results, you have to start hurting the white people's in their pockets. People might not want to hear this, but it's the truth. You have to start hurting the white pockets. And I guarantee once you start attacking their pockets, because at the end of the day, this world, America, is all about money. Once you start attacking their pockets, I guarantee they're going to do it for a cost. Because like I said, a lot of these commercials promote Black Lives Matter. They're not doing it just because they really want to support Black Lives Matter. They're doing it because they understand that majority of their sales come from the black economy. But the black people ourselves, we don't look at it as that. I'm going to give Stars as an example. Stars Network. If you actually do your history on Stars Network, it was I forgot the president name who actually came over to the Stars team. He was working for HBO, and he was like, I had an idea. I think he was basically telling HBO that, like, hey, I think we should start promoting more Hispanic and black shows to grow our numbers, and they didn't want to do it. But then he went over to Stars, and they did it. So if you actually look at Stars and you wonder why they coming out with so many black shows,
so they got
it's not
power and all
yes,
that. Yeah.
people don't know this. They doing it because at the end of the day, Stars' biggest subscribers is actually the black network. Now when you go back and look at HBO is now coming out with more black shows. They see these major companies understand that we actually spend the dollars, but we not holding these companies accountable to actually fight for equality in this world. And that's what we actually have to start doing. If we want to see a change, we have to start attacking their pockets. And once you start attacking their pockets, I guarantee you they will sit there and come with some type of, they might not like it, but I guarantee you they come with some strategic plan to make it seem like they helping the community. But at the end of the day, even if they making it seem like they helping the community, that's a start. And we should take that and should be able to run with it. But
I mean, we also got to point out the fact that who they going to give the money to, right? Who they going to give the money to? So we squeeze their pockets, right?
Mm-hmm.
You make them force them to put money to the community. Who they going to give the money to?
Well, that's for us to come up with the plan, right? So that's another thing. So I'm glad you even said something like that, right? One big thing I have, like you said, we don't own our banks, but why we don't have our own Shark Tank in this world, right? Mm-hmm. Shark Tank is this big national show that come on ABC, and they out here giving money to these businesses. But you trying to tell me the black community don't have at least $50 billion? And with all the celebrities put together, they don't have $50 to $100 billion in a store. If you put all our money combined and have our own black Shark Tank, where is it? But the Hispanic community does this. The Jews community do this. Like, where is our own investment firms? Like, we probably have them, but where's the major ones at, right? Mm-hmm. Like, where are the ones that go on national TV where a black person shouldn't have to walk into this bank and keep getting declined? Where are those black investment firms out there so we could go to and pitch our business to, and they and if they don't like our business, they give us people to actually help us grow our business, even if they don't want to donate. Like, where are these people, right? You trying to tell?
But they out there. The banks are out there. You got one in Atlanta and things of that nature. It's just the mere fact of it is the fact that we don't go back and put our dollars back into it,
mm-hmm.
right? Why? That bank is not everywhere, right? Name of the banks that's everywhere. You got your, I don't know if we can say the names, but you got your well-known banks that's everywhere across the globe pretty much. These black-owned banks is not everywhere as of yet, but we're not putting our money into that. You know what I'm saying? So they are giving money back to their black-owned businesses and things, and it's especially one in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? So we can't say that.
But no, let's not focus just on the banks. We talk about investors. When we talk about startup companies, all these technology companies that come out, they don't run to the banks. They run to investors. Where are our black investors at? I don't see them like that.
I mean, where you going to find them?
They out there. You trying to tell me it's nobody in the black community that worth money, that don't have money?
They're out there, man. They're out there. We got to search, we got to figure that out.
No, you
right?
got the Jay-Z's.
Maybe somebody got to create a platform or things of that nature to have all these investors come in.
But that's what I'm saying. I think we have enough smart people in this world. We have the Jay-Z's within the hip hop community. We have the Yeezys. We have the Kanye's. We have the previous owner of BET. We have these people in this community. Why do we still don't have this major investment firm that's strictly for the black culture? You have to have a black business in order to get these funds. We should, again, if we always talking about, we read these articles where Jay-Z made another $50 million by investing in Uber or whatever. What about these black companies, right? I mean, I did read an article where he invested inside of this black marijuana company.
Silent investors too. Keep that in mind.
Say it again.
You do have silent investors.
Oh,
too.
100. But once again, we need to put this on the mainstream because once again, it's already proven that black people struggles to get the most loans. Yeah. We get declined the most. So we need to. We don't need no more silent investors. We need a lot of mainstream investors. We need people to put this information out
like
there.
Everything else is being normalized. We have to normalize this in order to make it, something that's a effort, a group effort at least, for our community. So I do agree with that, to a certain extent, because it's like, we honestly we live in a country that's built off of capitalism. So at the end of the day, I can't tell someone where to invest their money or what investments to make. But I can say that there's a lot of black businesses that are not receiving the same opportunity that their counterparts are receiving,
and they thriving,
and they're doing well. They just need some type of assistance to get to the next level. So we got to recognize that, and we got to start putting that out. That I think the first step in anything, as far as if there's an issue, because we talk about a lot of issues that we see, is getting it out there, making it known, making it known that this is an issue, and then acting on it and putting people in place and letting people know that this is what you can do to fix this. So. I think that we made a lot of progress as far as black business ownership, building up our, black community. But again, we still got a long way to go because we are, again, we are, not a majority of the population, but we're majority of whatever negative factor or whatever negative variable there is. So, until that's fixed, at least we still got a lot of work to do.
Yeah,
I agree.
So like I say, we just, especially in today's time, where we live in a world of social media, the internet. Internet is so accessible nowadays. You know what I'm saying? All you need is Wi-Fi. You're on the internet. It's like a lot of things could be better for our community if we just get together and come with a strategic plan to actually attack and grow as one another. But for sure, we have to stop showing envy and jealousy against one another, because at the end of the day, we're only hurting ourselves when we're not operating as one. That's the most important thing we have to do for our culture. We have to stop hating one another, because at the end of the day, we are, whether you have a different opinion, he has a different view, at the end of the day, we all have the same goal in mind, and that's just to grow and build with one another. And that's what we have to we have to come together as one. We have to stop this senseless killing. That has to stop. You know what I'm saying? If we have to be like more of the other cultures, you know what I'm saying? If somebody owe you something, I get it. You want your money back, but it's ways that you can actually get your money back. Like if you feel like someone is not going to pay you, is ways where you can actually put your money on insurance, then lend it to that person, right? And if that person don't pay you back, it's on insurance. Now that insurance company pays you back. So we have to leverage our brain and open it up more, right? So we could get more knowledgeable and stop doing senseless things against one another and just do it the right way. Don't be ashamed to take your friend to court because they did something wrong. That's just the mindset that we have to get in. We have to evaluate and we have to grow, and we have to stop looking at things, oh, this is not the right way, or somebody go talk about me funny if I do it this way. We have to get out this senseless thinking, and we have to, just get better as a community. So just to even, wrap it up, so tell me, what can we do as a group, individuals, to actually better this culture and, get out this senseless way of how we think? Like, what is it that we can actually do to make ourselves better and continue to grow? Because at the end of the day, we still the highest poverty race group out there, but yet we still control every single market influentially, whether it's sports, whether it's the clothing industry, whether it's the no matter what industry is, we just basically influencing. How is it that we could come collective as one group and make ourselves better so we not the highest poverty group out there?
I honestly, I think you hit it on the head with the last statement. You said, how do we be, come together collective as a group? I think that's the key, man. Because we don't realize again, it goes back to this, we don't realize the power and the value that we have in the world. Not just, in America, but in the world, the power and the value that we have. Everybody else realizes it, and they don't really show it for what it is. They use us, and they get what they need out of us, which is money, essentially, and that's it. But once we realize, we are capable of so much more collectively, and once we realize our value in the world, then we can move forward. But in just from a very a micro I guess view, it starts in the household. It starts with teaching those, not necessarily even if you're born in poverty, it starts with teaching those values of working hard and obtaining whatever goal you want to obtain, and going for it. And it's, although we live in a society where everything is institutionalized, everything is it's systemic. Everything that's happening to our community is systemic, meaning that all the laws and the policies in the court systems, they're essentially against us. The laws that are out there that they have in every category, whether that's illegal substances or in our communities, they enforce them harder. So we have to realize, and I think we realize this, that we have to be 10 times better, even though that's unfair. Is not equality. It's not a demonstration of equality. We have to set that standard for ourselves, and go for that. As far as crime and incarceration, those things, again, they are systemic. So we got to be better at a 10 times the rate that our counterparts are. Whether that's educating ourselves, educating our community, coming together, because we have those doctors, we have those lawyers, we got those community leaders that can do those things. It's just a matter of, again, coming together, taking our youth, because they're gonna be the future. Taking them away, getting them off social media and seeing everybody with the chains on, because honestly, that's a part of Black culture. Everybody with the chains on, and getting
we kings
in the foreign cars and all that, because that's not where it starts. It starts with you grinding. It starts with you making the right choice. Whether you gonna make this wrong choice to get that easy, fast gratification, or you gonna go the long route and build something that's that's residual, something that's gonna last past your generation. So it's a combination of a lot of things. We've come so far. The odds are still stacked against us, but we got a long way to go.
Well, for me, remember, accountability is a big thing for me. So before we talk about as a whole, as a community itself, we need to talk about individuals, right? Number one, stop trying to reinvent the wheel. There's a blueprint out there already as it is. Look at other races, number one, whereas you mentioned the Hispanics, things of that nature, whereas one would teach one another, right? And that person would teach another. Next thing you know, the whole entire family's on board, and the kids actually see that. And guess what happens? They go ahead and pass that down to their kids as well. So blueprint is already out there as it is. So stop taking shortcuts, right? Put in the work. Okay. Stop being Stop playing that victim Olympics stuff, because it's not gonna get you anywhere. All right. You sit here and complain about what the government, this thing. First off, you put them in office. So let's do something about that. All right. Do your research. Okay. Stop trying to tear down your own. Okay. Just for a couple dollars. All right. Because we've seen it time and time again that when these celebrities decide to stay in the communities and things of that nature, and I don't want to leave, something ends up happening. I find it crazy, that fact that Dolph died this month, right? Last year around this time, somebody else died around that month, and I think it was Pop Smoke or something like that nature. And a year before that, like, it's a cycle. Somebody got to break the cycle, right? So hold yourself accountable. Get to the bag. Do your research. Stop being lazy. Stop relying on these celebrities to sit here and make these decisions for you and tell you how to think. Stop doing that, because understand this: these celebrities and what they got going on, things of nature. The athletes, that can only last for so long.
It's a paid agenda.
You know what I'm saying? It can only last for so long. And so Get to your bag, get on your purpose, man. Y'all, we gonna be good. We gonna be all right because we got us at the end of the day. But once again, get to the bag, get on your purpose. Start individuals first, get there first, and then you go ahead and show your family how did you got there. Be the example.
Yep.
All right. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, so just for me to wrap it up, we have to remember we are stronger together than we are against one another. We have to uplift one another. We have to stop being ashamed of what we do in this world. And, when we do something, just understand what is the purpose and what is the result going to be once you do it. Like I say, all respect to everyone who marches in the street. But if we're going to march, let's march and get some results out of it. If we're going to vote for a political person in office, let's hold them accountable. You know what I'm saying? If they're going to say they're going to do something, to the Bidens and the Camillas of the world, if you say you're going to do something, we need to hold those people accountable for, for the actions that they say they was going to do. Like I say, I think this year alone is just a lesson learned. You see in this political world where they will promote, they'll show that they here, they get on their knees with us and stuff like that. But then once they get in, office and stuff like that, they ghost. So we have to start educating ourselves on, better political ways to get the people who we want in office. And we have to start doing our research. And it also starts with, it's just not the presidency, it starts with our local communities. You have to get inside your local mayor.
Involved.
Yeah. If you want changes in your community, if you want the arrests to stop happening, you need to get in your mayor office, your councilman office. If you want that police chief out, it can happen. You have to get your community behind you and vote them out, because if you think it can't happen, best believe it can happen. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing we have to start understanding, man. We have to start understanding that if we want change, we have to come together, come with a plan, and make that strategic plan that we come with, we make it stick. Once again, changes start within our home first, and then it spills over into the streets. So we have to remember that. So once again, I appreciate you guys for watching this show. Once again, this is Unethical and Accountable. Tune in to the next show. Peace.
Yo.